Primal Chaos.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Unlucky Morpheus is one of those bands that I've been meaning to get around to ever since I started diving into sort of Japanese female metal bands and stuff like that. They've come up over and over and over again. I've been meaning to get there, but I never have. And someone over in the Discord the other day, Socrates1775, recommended this particular track as a good introduction to the band. It's a live one, which typically I tend to avoid if I'm checking out a band for the first time, but the guys over in Discord seem to know what they're talking about. So if you haven't been there, by the way, check it out. There's a link in the description. That'll take you to the Discord where you can chat with like-minded music fans. Before I jump into the reaction, though, I just wanted to say this video today is brought to you not by a sponsor, but by me. This is my new merch page. I started it possibly about half an hour ago. And it's got a whole bunch of different stuff there, from stickers, hats, t-shirts, crop tops. It's all my own original art, including the raccoon swimsuit, which I thought was hilarious. I made this raccoon tileable image and I wanted to put it onto a product, and the only thing that seemed ridiculous enough was a female swimsuit. So check that out. No one's ever going to buy it, I guarantee. But if you do, let me know and I'll send you a prize. If you're crazy enough to wear a Trash Panda swimsuit, let me know. Send me an email. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to do something that's a little bit more personal and allow you guys to interact with the channel in a way where you get something in return. It's over at primalchaos.com, P-R-Y-M-A-L, chaos.com. Anyway, thanks, guys. We'll jump back into the video now. Unlucky Morpheus. This is Dignity of Spirit Live, I believe it's called. And we will check it out. Here we go. Interesting sound. It sounds almost like a piezo pickup. Could be wrong. Oh, she's got beautiful vibrato. Wow. Wow, listen to that control. That's so good. Oh, violin player too, cool. Wow, she's got great control. Come on. Now we're getting it. Come on. Okay, I've got to stop somewhere. What a great song so far. Like, it's evolved so beautifully from something that's very, almost like a folky metal kind of aesthetic at the beginning. And then you get the sort of like Iron Maiden-y kind of kick off into like a gallopy kind of metal song kind of reminds me a little bit of like your Love Bites kind of thing, where they embrace true like old school heavy metal and just sort of apply it like a modern aesthetic to that. I love the styling of them. It's kind of like this weird proto steampunky sort of thing, but without leaning too much into that subculture. It's kind of that Edwardian kind of or Victorian aesthetic, but it's this mishmash of stuff that sort of all gets pieced together. Amazing players. Everybody so far is just crushing it. They're so good. I'm going to jump back a little bit. I feel like I was just caught up in it too much to react, if that makes sense. Just an amazing voice, man. Just really good. It's a little bit Dragon Forcey as well, if that makes sense. Dragon Force. Come on. Is it just me? Am I crazy? Or it seems to have a little bit of an element of like pirate rock. Like it's got like this, it's almost like really sped up sea shanty kind of vibe, you know? Just in some of the rhythms of the band, like the backing track. It just sort of feels like, you know, there's a band called Dungeon that used to play every time a band would come to Australia, they would be supported by Dungeon. Was it Dungeon? It's been many, many years since I saw them. But they had sort of like a couple of songs that were kind of like a up tempo pirate metal kind of speed tempo kind of thing. Very, very cool. Maybe it's got something to do with the violin or fiddle, as it would be. Come on. Ooh, all right. Come on. Nice sweeps. Ah, really cool. Oh. And we're going neoclassical now. I don't think that anything elevates a rock band more than a shreddy violin player. You know, they just always seem to add something to it that sort of takes it up a notch. One thing I just wanted to point out, like this is this is a problematic reaction because there's so much going on. It becomes really hard to articulate what you're experiencing, and you sort of start grasping at straws and throwing out concepts and things like that that don't make a lot of sense, because these guys are like literally pivoting at a mile a minute and going into all these different musical concepts. It's kind of, it reminds me a little bit of, who's the band I'm thinking of? Unleash the Archers, in the same sort of way that they sort of go through all these different movements in their compositions, which is not unusual with metal, and particularly like higher level kind of fantasy or like high concept sort of metal. But, you know, these guys sort of seem to do it really effortlessly, and they've got all the tools available to make it really elevated and creative. And, you know, they've got the neoclassical elements, and they've got the sort of, like I said earlier, there's something intangible connecting my brain to like pirate stuff and sea shanty kind of things, but without leaning so far into that concept of those, you know, subgenre sort of things, that it's tangible. It's not like I'm sitting there going, well, these guys are definitely this or that. They're just sort of brushing past all of these different musical concepts and ideas. And it's fascinating. They're all stunning players, really. Like, I mean, every Japanese band I've reacted to, it's the same story. They're always, it's not a matter of whether they're good players or bad players. It's just a matter of they get a bunch of people together, they wind them up and just watch them go, and whatever melange of interesting, like, aesthetics or choices or whatever they want to make or focus on and lean into, they'll just move in that direction. And so you've just got all of these insanely talented musicians just placed into groups that just do weird stuff. And it's all good. It's all because they're so talented, they can make anything work, you know? Oh, I'm so glad I'm not a musician in Japan. I just wouldn't cut it. I just really wouldn't. Here we go. I'm going to jump back a little bit because, first of all, that back and forth with the violin and the guitar player was awesome. Is the violin player related to the singer? They something about them that seems similar in just face. Like facially, that it seems similar. Beautifully melodic solo. That's so good. Come on! Got just a great command of her range. this guitar. It's always fun to watch. Oh, nice. Very nice. I love how the song's bookended by that. That's really cool. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna make one of my Primal Chaos predictions. I feel like this guitar player here on the right is influenced at least in part by Yngwie Malmsteen. Not from so much the playing perspective, although there's a lot of, again, neoclassical elements and like harmonized parts and strong melodies, which he's very good at as well. But just there's something about the band in general that sort of has that neoclassical flair, and not in the music mostly, but also in their aesthetic and the way that they perform. They've got this cool sort of like hair metal 80s brashness on stage where they're interacting with the crowd in a very specific way that just reminds me of, like, I went and saw Yngwie quite a few years ago now, and he just has an energy when he plays and interacts with the audience and stuff where it's just as much a show what he's doing physically as it is what his hands are doing, you know? And that's really cool. I know that a lot of Japanese bands lean into like I can't think of the name. There's a name for it. Specific bands where they go for like the hair metal aesthetic, and they sort of push that vibe as kind of like as a choice, you know, just as a physical manifestation of their performances, as opposed to the musical choices and stuff. Notwithstanding, they don't have to be any specific genre, but there's that. It's like they're almost like paying homage to those big bands, like, you know, that put on huge shows like Mr. Big or Poison, or, you know, bands like that. Yngwie, a lot of those big sort of guitar players that sort of toured through Japan in the 80s and sort of blew everyone's minds and always played sold out shows and things like that, to sold out houses and stuff. But yeah, anyway, look, that was amazing. I'm super psyched about learning about Unlucky Morpheus now. I just got to fit him into my schedule of how I'm going to devour these guys as well, because this sort of stuff is right up my alley. Intricate playing, creative composition. I love the fact that they've got at least one classical instrument in the band, like with the violin, which gives them sort of options and range that most bands probably would have to cover with like a synth or something like that. But yeah, very charismatic and interesting performers. And, you know, I just want to know what else these guys are capable of now. You know, you hear one thing and you're like, what else can they do? Give it to me. I want to know. If you got any information about who these guys are and their history and stuff like that, as usual, fill me in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. I'd rather learn from you guys than Google searching, you know, and appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. If you feel like I brightened your day at all, feel free to support the channel just by checking out my merch site. Or if you want to donate, you can just buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description to a PayPal link. Or you can just hit thanks under the video as well and donate that way. Thank you guys for sticking around. Feel free to share this with anyone you think might appreciate it as well, or people who like reaction videos. And I'm going to check out more of these guys in the future. Definitely. I just did Guitaric Spin. These guys have more of like an edge to them. I kind of dig that as well. So I'll be doing more. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate you checking out the channel. Stay primal, and I'll catch you on the next one.